Thank you for staying with us. And right now, still, we are talking about the second year anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration as the man in charge of this country. He took the reins of affairs from his fellow party man, former President Muhammadu Buhari, May 29, 2023, right there at Eagle Square. So, here we are right now. How has he fared? By the way, he addressed Nigerians this morning and he said, fellow Nigerians, as we mark the second anniversary of our administration, I salute your resilience and undaunting spirit. 2 years ago, you trusted me, entrusted me with the sacred responsibility to lead our nation at a time of historic challenges. Together, we have faced these headwinds with courage and determination. And he said, while our administration has implemented the reforms to restore and reinvigorate our national economy and strengthen our social fabric as a strong and united country, I must thank my fellow citizens for your unrelenting support and belief in the grand vision we share to uplift our nation and renew our collective hopes and aspirations. We are halfway through the journey that began 24 months ago. Today, May 29, 2025, offers our administration the opportunity to share again how far we have gone and progressed in steering our country along the critical path of socio-economic development. Under our renewed hope agenda, our administration pledged to tackle economic instability, improve security nationwide, reduce corruption, reform governance, and lift our people out of poverty. And then it went on and on. But I will stay with this so that we know if actually that is what he had done. We have with us already, Comrade Larry Fadams, he has been with us speaking on these issues. And we are being joined by a Northern Nigerian, a public affairs analyst, an economist, and investment expert, Jose Ashedai Johnson from the ancient city of Ibadan. Good morning, Mr. Ashedai. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Your president, my president, Nigeria's president, said on that renewed hope agenda, his administration pledged to tackle one, economic instability, improve security nationwide, reduce corruption, reform governance, and lift people out of poverty. He said that again this morning, and he said what he has done in that regard. With that 5-pointer, how well do you think he has fared in the last 2 years?
Well, honestly, maybe ordinary people will see things differently, but from where I'm sitting as an investment, person, and we're always looking at investment. So I'll come from that particular angle because investment and economy is what we do most of the time, Now, so I would say that the president hasn't done well with the management of the economy. Okay, so I would say that yes, the reforms that he tried to do. Well, these are things that we have mentioned in the past, that things that needed to be done. Okay, so but however, doing something is different from how you do that thing. So how you do what you do can affect the results of what you want to get by doing that thing in the first place, which is what affects the reforms, which includes the removal of subsidy, floating of naira, and trying to to bring the exchange rates together as to have a single exchange rate in the country. So this said, the truth of the matter is that every time you want to do something like this, it's a disruptive, thing, reform that you have to do. You have to find a balance. You have to look for balance. You have to look for something to balance it. It's like you're bringing in something into a stable, a stable environment. Once you introduce something new, you have to introduce counter new thing to get us to maintain stability, and that's what he's failed to do. So with regards to politics, again, you know, the political situation also affects investment climate. Okay, so I will tell you, you know, every day we are always considering one investment or the other. And the other time we're looking at the investment that could go all the way to Borno State, Maiduguri, for example. So we have data concerning Maiduguri, but it was good. But you know what? We have to cut it off. Why? Because of the security situation. Okay, so I have something to say about that security situation, and I hope Mr. President and the people that are close to him are paying attention. I believe in somewhere that he will be paying close attention, because you know reports are having it that you know the insecurity is beginning to spiral out of control, is beginning to go back to pre 2015. Now we have to the DSS should do their job. These things are not ordinary. Now, for somebody like me, we are not supporting anybody, whether to the left or to the right. What we are doing is basically, you know, following data and the things that are happening so that we could be able to plan for our investments. Now, what we have before 2015 are these are things that were done to upset the government of the day. And I think they are about it again. So the president, the DSS, and the military intelligence should do their job. Should do their job and make sure that this thing is nipped in the bud. Nobody should be sacred cow in this regard. Let everybody that is involved be named. Not just be shamed, be named, arrested, and prosecuted according to the law of the land. Because that's one of the things that will bring confidence to investors. Because again, I said it, what we do is to try to plan investment to ensure that the investment that we're bringing are bringing returns. And it can only bring returns when you have, you know, a stable environment or a secured environment to run your businesses. And then, of course, we are looking at foreign investors to come in to bring in their fund. They would not bring their fund in a case where they know that nothing is nothing is being done to people who are criminally minded, you know, who are disturbing the economic environment and the society. So that's basically some of the things that he has to do. And I'm thinking that, to my mind, he must not be thinking political when it comes to this. These things must be done.
All right, Mr.
Okay?
Asheda.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Asheda, you've talked about the economy, and as an economic expert, you stated clearly that the president has not done well in that area. Thankfully, you just mentioned security. It was as if you were reading my mind, because I was going to ask you about security. Just before you joined us, we've talked about the education sector, and I also talked about the healthcare sector. So talking about security right now in Nigeria, it is clear that the case has worsened. Insecurity in the nation has worsened. We have people in Benue State, we have statistics of people in Benue State and Plateau State being slaughtered, farmers being killed. Recently, reports came out in Borno State alone, about 90 farmers reportedly killed within 5 months. So clearly, it has worsened. And just this morning, we saw a report from Amnesty International that said about 10,217 people have been killed in 2 years. That's from Amnesty International. 10,217 people. So it's not looking good at all on the part of our security agencies. But again, how would you rate, if we were to score the president on a percentage scale, how would you rate him in the area of security? We know about Borno State, about Mate local government in Borno State, where most of the villages have been ravaged. The governor himself came out to say that out of about 300 villages in that area, that only one was left standing. Now, recently we had the military, I think it was yesterday, saying that they killed some terrorists and all that. But interestingly, and here's my point, we did not see those footages. In other places, in other climes, like the United States, for instance, we see video footages of military operations to show that, oh, this is what they are dealing with. Why can't we see such in Nigeria? We are not seeing video footages of our military, taking on these terrorists, eliminating them and all that. So sometimes some people will say, is this not just propaganda again, saying that because the government of the nation, the government of Nigeria have come out several times to say that they have defeated Boko Haram. Not once, not twice. They was, oh, Boko Haram is something in the past, but it keeps coming up over and over again. So, Mr. Asheda, judging by the facts and figures we have, how would you rate the president in terms of security, in clear terms?
Look, Mr. President had been trying to play politics from the very beginning. He's trying to appease some people, and he's trying to not step on toes. And I'll have to be very clear, because some people have to let it be very clear, very known. Listen, now the agitation in the north, I listened to them when they had the meeting, on Sunday night, and then the spokesperson was addressing the press afterward. There are two things that jumped out at me. First thing is he mentioned that the state of infrastructure in the north. You have to know that everybody in that hall, and everybody that was in that hall were all northerners except for Peter Obi, and that's very interesting point. That's by the wayside. Yeah, because you are investment people does not mean that we don't pay attention to these things, because these things affect investments. So we had to pay attention. Now, the spokesman mentioned two things that jumped at me. The first thing, he mentioned the state of infrastructure in the north. And then he mentioned security situation. Now, see those two things that he mentioned, I can tell, number one, let's start from the infrastructure in the north. 2 years, President Buhari was in power for 8 years. It is not Tinubu that should be answering for the state of infrastructure in the north. 2 years is not enough to say, okay, if an infrastructure is not done, or it has been done and been destroyed, 2 years is not enough to say, okay, you have not done well with that. And I think they're making political statement. You have to watch. Number two, they mentioned this case of insecurity. Now, we know, and this is a trend, when the North is not happy with the government of the day, insecurity increased. So this is a trend, and which means that the people who are responsible for the insecurity in the North are the northern political elites who want the government of the day out of the place. It's interesting for me to know that, it's interesting for us to note that, this insecurity that are taking place, they are taking place in the north. So the people in the north are destroying the north, and they want to hold the government of the day responsible. I am saying that the DSS, the military intelligence, should do their job and follow through with this. Don't just step on toes, crush the toes that needed to be crushed, so that, because look, I'm not for President Tinubu. I've said it several times. He didn't do this. He's not doing this well. He had allowed it to fester in the first place as soon as he entered the office, and things are going awry. He needed to step up, not just for himself, but for Nigeria, the Nigerian people that have given him the mandate for 4 years for this first step. So he was doing what he needed to do. That's number one. And then number two, with regards to seeing footages from the military exercises and all that. Now, you will know, I think you're speaking to yourselves, that is journalists. Journalists ought to follow the military. When you go to those places, you will see them on CNN, they're wearing helmets, like the soldiers wearing. That's
because the journalists were invited. They were permitted to be there.
No, these journalists do not need to be invited. They need to go there.
No, without approval. Sorry, Mr. Asheda. Without approval, no journalist can cover military operations.
No, you will go there. You will ask for it. And I'm not sure that they will say no, because these are things that they know that is happening in other places. And of course, the world need to see what our military people are doing. Now, my house, we have a house in Djibouti. The next house we sharing fence together was a military officer. He's retired now, or he's retired now. He was in that place. His son, now that son is late now, his first son was there and comes back telling me all those things that they had to go through. Sometimes they go out, and when they went out, they were ambushed. Clearly that somebody has given them, it was a major, somebody has given
divulge information.
So I mean, intelligence about their movement. And so they just enter into ambushes like that. He had injuries to show for him escaping, from those, and his boys died. So these people, the military, of course, will definitely need to. They would definitely need to see what they are doing. So I'm saying that the question the question you are asking, I think I'm giving it back to you. Journalists have to go out there and do it now. So it's another case to that. So what about the
challenge is taken, Mr. Ashada? The challenge is taken already. Thank you. we have a lot to do this morning, and there is another talking point. But before that, actually, the president spoke this morning, and part of what he said in his anniversary was this. I will allow you to take if you can do that in a minute or two, then Comrie will do that as well. Inflation has begun to ease, with rice prices and other staples declining. The oil and gas sector is recovering. Rig counts are up by 400% in 2025 compared to 2021. And over $8 billion in new investments have been committed. We have stabilized our economy and are now better positioned for growth and prepared to withstand global shocks. That's a word from Mr. President in part of the statement. Do you agree with him?
Really, the truth of the matter is that the figures shows that the inflation is not rising as fast as it used to, but it's still rising. It's double figures. You understand? And so there is more to be done in that regard. So, but that is easing. Yeah, data shows that it is easing. But the truth of the matter is that it could be better than this. It should be, the rate at which it's easing should be higher than this, okay? And then again, that's number one. Number two, you have to ask yourself, so what were you doing to reduce it? For example, rice. Now, I don't know whether we talked about it last year, some time ago, but we had an investment, a $16 million investment in rice that was supposed that we worked on. We planned from late last year to early this year. So we still have the figures of our projections. We are not careless with what we do when we do what we do with that with numbers, because people's monies are involved. Now, the rice at that time, we pegged the selling a bag of rice from that project at 65,000 naira. Now, bag of rice is around 58. I do not have the figures with regards to the cost, but this was the selling price that we projected with 65,000 per bag. Now they are selling it in the market around 58 or 60. So what will happen to that investment? So that investment is going to enter into trouble. At least we're not going to get the kind of investment, the kind of return that we planned for it to get. That's one. Now, where is the rice that we're seeing in rice mill factories in Kano, like 2 in Abuja, even in December alone, like 2 in Abuja, like 1 in Kano.
He's talking about the rigs count and all of those things. And he said this is part of what we are doing. Are you saying it that way?
I'll tell you
that things are declining. It might not be what it used to be, but things are easing up.
Reality is that any government fixated on that they keep certain things that is supposed to work for the rainy day. And now because you want to create an impression that things are working, you now release some. You must tell us where is it coming from. I was looking at the things, I mean, the only
economic reform team. Inflation in Nigeria is still double digits. Okay. The other day we were talking about it right here, and they said it dropped. I said it's insignificant. That's what I said here, and I'm saying it again. It is the reduction is insignificant. When we're having 0.05 reduction sometimes, so it is statistics and all that. But like, I mean, reduction in inflation. Do you see trick? My question is how?
We're celebrating 2 years of this administration, and we all were witnesses to discussions pre that 2023 election. And this was flying around. So whatever, you can't spend dollars and want to take it back in naira. That's where the dollar thing became an issue. The central bank is the warehouse of all these things. And suddenly it became bloated. How can we start from 450 official to say flotation would 1,900? So you are now telling me life is better because it's now 1,600. I know where I started from. So the things don't add up on the street. That's the reality. And it's unfortunate we are where we are today, because it would have been best if the system had been done in such a way that we were practicing what we're preaching. We are not going anywhere near that. It beats my imagination hollow. There was a Malaysian leader that was to be operated on. And he asked, and the doctors were telling him for some equipment, we may not be able to do this surgery here. He said, wait, what happened to the previous citizens that you have been treating? Said, well, they manage me. If I die, I die. That's leadership. And he did not die, because those ones put everything into it to make sure the little we have, we make the best of. But the moment you cannot have that kind of committed leadership, it's a walk in the park. It's just a parade. And we should stop all this parade, because we get unnecessarily emotional about things. I say, give them a little cannot solve problem. It only paints a vague out those things for cushion effects when it gets depleted. You can't continue the drama. You can't sustain it unless you make a positive decision that, okay, from these reserves, let's ease this tension, but let's start planting now.
All right.
Let's start progressive planning now.
All right. So much to talk about that, but this edition of this program will not end. We're not talking about what happened yesterday. Comrade, I'm sure, because you are somebody that is into education. I know that. Mr. Ashada, I'm not sure if it happened in Oyo State, but here in Osun State, and we learned same unfortunate situation happened in Delta State 5 days ago. Students who are writing the current Waec examination conducted by Waec were writing to the 9th yesterday, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. At 9:25, a neighbor of mine went to the school. She learned the theory aspect of the English paper was yet to arrive. People were writing it. Students, what now? Waec is the examination body. It's not a Nigerian thing, but then we have the Nigerian office. But what do you think happened yesterday? It was, the pictures and the videos were there. It was a sorry state. What has befallen us? Or do you just see it as being coincidental?
No, it's not coincidental. It is not coincidental. It is the plane to the gallery that has revealed itself. Would anyone have expected that with all that happened to JAMB, that within weeks of it, we will be seeing this again? It's a national decay. But when you talk about it, they say these people are pessimists, they're always castigating. Nothing is working again. When these people bring proposals, they only get approvals for money they want to take, not to spend on the system. Please tell me, in the whole world today, if you want to take an examination with any American institution, they send it to your laptop. If you have 2 hours to answer, it's coming now. It drops. You do your exam, you get your results, you get, and we are at that level. Our leaders have children who live at that level. Do you know there was an exam? Let me tell you, that is what I'm saying, that there cannot be leakage at this generation. It was those days of scripts that you write it on paper, that you must take the paper to central bank. Now you can release 1 second across the whole Nigerian state. So if there's leakage, whoever is in charge leaked it. Do you get it? The technology can get it to every state, real time. So how did they now eventually send the new one? Do you get it? It's something you can have. Let me tell you what happens at that level. At that level of an examination, you have about 5, 6, 7 different kind of questions that you pick at the last minute. This is the one we are pushing for this examination now. So it means last minute you can say, okay, press a button, and every state in Nigeria has it. So what number of hours do you think that has for the leakage to have happened? The reality is... It
means you are not yet digital. That's just a fact.
We claim to have been, because I don't see a reason why a nation that is in this type of trouble, in this type... You remember Waec is West African.
Absolutely.
It's not purely Nigeria. So remember, did it happen like that? Do they have glitches like that in Ghana? And other countries where we do this examination together? We must find out.
All right.
We must find out if they had same glitches in those places.
All right.
That they had to write. And if you are writing into the night in schools that do not have electricity,
exactly,
you can imagine.
All right.
So there is a national rot that we must address, and we must address it beyond party lines. Because the moment somebody is speaking, they are saying it's one party. We are destroying Nigeria by things. We have just, exactly 2 years to another election, and people are already pasting posters. Can you imagine? So what type of a nation are we? Whatever you want to sell as regards coming back to rule people is selling points of what you have done. So you can't have a legion of failures and say, we understand the politics of how to win elections.
All right, because of time, I'm talking about posters. One of the concerns raised by the coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, is that this administration is actually breaking the law. They're talking about the 1999 Constitution, that as far back as 6 months ago, the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, has been flooded with posters of Mr. President seeking re-election, which is not supposed to be so. Well, finally, because of time, I'd like to ask you this question, Comrade Fadansi, and I also like Mr. Joseph Asheda to address it. In 1 minute, do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been leading by example? Can you say he has been an exemplary leader for the past 2 years?
Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been leading the type and following the prototype of who he has always been. You can't give what you don't have. So he has not disappointed me as a person, but in terms of the results of what he has done, it is looking not working for the nation. So for you to class who say, the Northerners are angry, like Sasheda said, because they felt, look, we voted, we worked for you. And we are not seeing the results. It's not because the poor in the North is what they are talking about, that we know how we worked to get you there.
All right, so very quickly.
Because let's talk about this little one, just in 30 seconds. That virtually everyone that appeared to have been fingered in the past, because it was like a particular section of the insurgents was created to remove Jonathan. There were two sides to it. Like Mr. Sheda was saying, let's not be cosmetic about it. Half of it was on the side, the other half was the one fighting the nation. So the other half was meant for political reasons. That's the other half that is fighting back now. That they are not getting, because they were created for political reasons. You understand? So to them, it's like everybody that had been fingered in the past, this one is close to Boko Haram, they are the part of this administration. And so why are we having the problems?
Time will even fail us to talk about the former chief of army staff who was allegedly murdered. I would like Mr. Sheda to attend to that question. Do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has led by example for the past 2 years? Judging by what Nigerians are facing, do you think he has been an exemplary leader so far?
Hey, look, everybody knows, I'm just smiling because, there's no leader in Nigeria that I don't know if there is any at all that led by example. Or maybe you just talk about President Obasanjo that we...
No, I just want to narrow it down to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now.
Yes, I'm just saying that we do not have we do not have history of any leader at all that's led by example. Is it that you are talking about being treated abroad instead of Nigeria? Is it that the fact that the Asu Rock is installing solar panels because they cannot afford to pay the discos for the power supplies, and they are asking Nigerians to pay the same rate, band A, band B, people are right. So if Asu Rock cannot afford band A at the price that it is, and you are now giving Nigerians band A to pay that at the price that it is, you can't say you are leading by example. I think it's a no-brainer. So we cannot say it's leading by example. We have not seen any leader in Nigeria that's led by example, or maybe we're talking about...
Mr. Asheda, this is a convenient place for us to leave it today. We are totally, out of time. Yoshe Asheda, he is an investment expert. Thank you for your time today, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And of course, Comrade Fadamsi, thank you.
Thanks for having me. One just parting shot is that we've had Latif Jakonde living in his own personal house.
All right.
We've had Awolowo, so it's not as if Nigeria has not had that kind of leadership. We have had it before.
Femi Ojo is my name. Congratulations in a way to Nigeria. We will do better. We should do better. We're back tomorrow.
Emeka Dana is my name. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Good morning.